Hi there, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Busbao. Now President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo was the chief mourner as legendary commentator Joe Lartey was laid to rest at a state burial held earlier today in Accra. Now, thousands of mourners thronged the forecourts of the State House to pay their final tribute to Mr. Lartey, who lived for 96 years. Now, Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, Evans Opoku-Bobie, who read the state's tribute, described him as a man who was not merely a commentator, but also an institution who inspired many generations of sports enthusiasts.
Veteran sports commentator, Lartey's impact on Ghanaian sports media and beyond was profound and enduring. His unique blend of passion, insight, and charisma defined his career and left an indelible mark on the hearts of sports enthusiasts. Joe Lartey was not mere a commentator. He was an institution in his own right. From the early days of his career, he captivated audience with his vibrant and engaging commentary, turning every football match into a thrilling experience. His talent for capturing the game's drama, the skill of the players, and the sports essence with remarkable clarity and enthusiasm was truly exceptional. Lartey had a way of making every listener feel like they were right there in the midst of the action, whether they were watching on television or listening to the radio. Beyond his technical prowess, Lartey was a symbol of integrity and dedication in sports journalism. His deep knowledge of football and other sports was complemented by his commitment to honest and insightful analysis. He was known for his fairness, his respect for the game, and his unwavering support for the athletes he covered. Lartey's contributions extended beyond the commentary booth, influencing the next generation of sports journalists and commentators with his professionalism and passion. His legacy is not only in the countless memorable broadcasts and analysis he provided, but also in the inspiration he offered to those who inspired to follow his footsteps. His voice may have been silenced, but his influence will continue to resonate in the world of sports journalism. As we remember Joe Lartey, we celebrate a life dedicated to the love of sports and the art of storytelling. His presence will be sorely missed, but his contributions will forever be a part of the rich fabric of sports commentary.
And may his gentle soul rest in peace. Now, former Ghana international Michael Essien says he has no plans of becoming a head coach despite being in the profession. Essien, who after his retirement has been working with Norgeland since 2020, where he serves as an individual player coach, helping nurture the next generation of football talent. However, the 41-year-old, despite his involvement in the development of players, has revealed that he has no intentions of leading a team on his own. According to him, the role is demanding and he prefers to stay away from attention. He's been speaking to Joy Sports, Fentio Tahiru Fentio.
Well, actually, when I remember when I was playing, if you ask me if I wanna be a coach or get into into coaching, I would say no. But then, you know, as time passed and you know, I start thinking. I mean, I've been doing this football thing for almost my whole life, so. Yeah. Why not take up, you know, a coaching license and, you know, still stay in football, you know, be around the players, especially the young ones, you know, guide them a little bit, you know, give them a few advice, few feedbacks, you know, and stuff like that. And yeah, I still love the game, and so yeah, that's what made me start my coaching license. Actually, I started before I end my career. So
yeah.
then,
and you started with the very lowest one, license C, yeah?
Yeah, I did. I was in Wales. I did my license there. So I did the C, the B, together.
Yeah.
And then a year or two later, I started doing the A. So I started doing my A license before I came here. So I finished here. Yeah.
And then you graduated last year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I saw you holding up the certificate.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because people think, you know, you've been an ex-player, it's easy to go to coaching, but it's not at all. But then I took up this decision to do it because I didn't want to end up being one of these ex-players. They finish their career, they go home, and then now they start thinking what they're gonna do. Then they get into depression and stuff like that. So and I started doing it so I can keep my routine kind of the same as when I was playing. So yeah.
I mean, that's actually a brilliant response because you mentioned this whole issue of transitioning, and sometimes you finish before trying to figure out what you want to do, and you might not figure it out in time, and it can get a little bit, you know, it can get very difficult. I spoke to a few ex-players, I think a few weeks ago we had a
You continue to join us at 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7:30 tomorrow for the full interview there. Well, away to the Ghana Premier League now, and exciting fixtures to look forward to. Accra Heart of Folk will be looking for their first win since the start of the campaign when they host Bechim United at the University of Ghana Stadium, and Kumasi Asante Kotoko will return to action against Young Apostles. So this are the fixtures to look forward to. Vision FC will be playing Legon Cities, and then you have Gold Stars taking on Basake Holy Stars, Karele United playing Accra Lions, Ediana FC against Nations FC, Asante Kotoko against Young Apostles, and you have Heart of Folk looking for the first win, as I mentioned earlier, playing Bechim United. Then Dreams FC against Heart of Lions, and Midiama playing Samatex, and Insontreman against Brekum Chelsea. But these two games, however, have been postponed. Now, there will also be a big game in the English Premier League, and is Manchester City who will be hosting Arsenal. And ahead of that game, Pep Guardiola has been speaking, and he says he's expecting a really tight matchup. While for Mikel Arteta, he says they've been preparing for this game since pre-season.
Apparently because I think we are a good team, but they are good too. They do many good things in all the aspects, when in high pressing, in defending deep, in transitions, and it's a absolutely complete team. That's why I have been the biggest rival in the last two seasons. And yeah, early stage of the season, I would say. So nothing more than, you know, the mood for the next games, the influence for the next games. But in terms of table and anything, it's not much important. It will be important when we will go to London in the second part of the season. Every season is stronger, yeah. Depth squad and add more players and top quality, yeah. Every season is even better and even better.
Yeah, we've been preparing for this since pre-season. Obviously, we knew the schedule. We knew that it's extremely rare to play in these conditions 3 massive ways in 6 days. But it was what it was. So we have prepared for that physically, mentally, tactically, making sure that everybody is ready for it because we're going to need them, and especially with the injuries that we had in international break. So we are prepared. We go to the home of the champions, the team that I think in the Premier League history has been the most consistent ever, not only in terms of result, but in terms of dominance and consistent top performance, I think without question of a doubt. And this is the challenge, that we go there and we have to prove that, again, we have made another step, and we can compete and win in those grounds.
Well, big games to look forward to in the English Premier League, but now also action returns in Germany. And for that, of course, let's connect with Chris Harrington, our man in Germany, joining us all the way from Berlin. He works with DWTV, our partner station. Chris, good to have you. Of course, Dortmund, they got a big win in the Champions League. Bayern Munich also got a massive win. And, well, one man, however, that people are waiting to see how he will get started for Dortmund is Guirassy. Of course, he made his debut, you know, over the match day in the last weekend when Dortmund were in action. He scored in the Champions League. But the big question is that he's yet to hit the ground running in the Bundesliga for Dortmund. Do you see him netting against his former side, Stuttgart, when they take to the field this weekend?
I think he has no choice but to do so. You know, Guirassy was such a big name. He played himself on all of these radars of the top clubs all over Europe. I was kind of surprised to see him stay in the Bundesliga. You know, it's kind of interesting that both teams are competing in the Champions League. You know, Stuttgart actually outperformed Dortmund domestically last season. When you look at the standings, a large part due to Guirassy. You know, so the fact that he just made his debut, he didn't score. Typically, when you see players go against their former clubs, I don't think there's bad blood. And normally when you see there's bad blood between, you know, the player and the former club, you know, the player typically shines bright or attempts to do so. You see, you know, all of the effort, you know, being exuded on the pitch from the former player. I think we'll see that from Guirassy, you know, considering he's fully healthy, following the Champions League and how those minutes are managed on that side of things. But I think he needs to do that. You know, Dortmund have kind of misfired as of late. You know, they recall certain players. Sebastian Haller is a good example. You know, Sebastian Haller was electric when he was at Frankfurt, you know, the other team he played for prior to being at Dortmund. You know, after he spent his time outside the Bundesliga, returned a record transfer, didn't pan out. Of course, his health was a major factor in that, but that's always something that's an outlier. You have to factor in health. How healthy will Guirassy be? Is he rushing back to the pitch too soon? Because, you know, he is coming back from an injury himself. And hopefully Dortmund's medical team are doing their due diligence, because the expectation is Guirassy is going to net 20 goals. That's what I'm expecting. Why not? He's playing against the exact same opponents as he was playing against last season. There's really no reason for him not to be as productive. So I think Stuttgart will be the best opportunity for him to get himself on the scoring sheet. You know, I'm sure Dortmund, his teammates, the wingers and so forth, they'll be pulling for the same thing, trying to encourage him to do the same. So I do expect to see him do something, at least an assist, in my opinion.
Well, Chris, much appreciated. That's Chris Harrington, and we'll see how Guirassy will fare in the game against Stuttgart, his former club there. But let's turn attention to some Formula One now, and the action is moving all the way to Singapore. That's where the Singapore Grand Prix will be, you know, folding round of 17 in the championship. And of course, Kwabena Poku is the man. Every time we talk about the Formula One and, you know, talk about the Grand Prix, he joins me via Zoom now. Kwabena, thank you very much for your time this evening. Much appreciated. It's round 17 of the Formula One action happening in Singapore, and so much eyes is already on it, you know, over this weekend. But even before we get to the action in Singapore, Motorsport, Ghana Motorsport Federation, we had a conversation about it, and your attempt to try and, you know, get some certification for the National Sports Authority and all the others. What update do you have on that? Unmute yourself, Kwabena, if you can unmute yourself so we can hear you.
Yes, so we are still in the process, the formation process. We're dealing with the Federation of International League and with us of footballs and the Olympic and committees and the likes. It's not like we need representation across the whole country. So it's very unique. So the NSA is treating us with a very unique strategy in terms of registering, going according to the rules to register our whole federation. And at the same time, we are getting, the FIA is also gathering our documents, going through everything we are presenting to them. And in due time, we'll make the necessary announcements. But we are hoping to be at the next Congress, which is after the F1 season in Rwanda this year.
Amazing. Well, let's talk about the Grand Prix in Singapore now. What are your personal expectations, especially coming from what happened in Azerbaijan?
So, you know, first let me just correct that one. Singapore is round 18.
Round 18.
Now,
okay.
You know, the season is not going Red Bull's way. They started very well. Max is still leading the championship in terms of points. But McLaren, Ferrari, and the Mercedes teams are stepping up their game Now, the championship is a three-way championship. If you ask me personally, it's between Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari as we speak. McLaren thought that Piastri is their man, but it looks like McLaren thought that Lando is their man, but it looks like Piastri, the young man, is stepping up to the plate. Within a few races, he's matched up to his teammates. Two what do you call it? Wins, Formula One wins for both of them. I mean, since Lando started and since Piastri joined, both of them have 2 wins this season and 2 in their careers. So you can imagine the games that they are bringing. And for me, going into Singapore, which is a very, very hard track to drive on, Marina Bay Circuit is a street circuit. It's very hot. Temperatures are very hot over there. And it's a very dicey track as well. Max Verstappen has never won over there before. His teammate has won over there before. Lewis has won over there before. Currently, the only driver on the grid with the highest number of wins at the Singapore Grand Prix. So I'm expecting some fireworks on Sunday at the Singapore Grand Prix. It's going to be very, very much amazing, if you ask me.
I mean, but will it give us an indication of what is likely to happen by the end of the season?
It will, in a way. I mean, seeing as what happened in Azerbaijan, if you watch the drive Piastri put up against the Ferrari, I mean, this race at some point stayed 1 second difference for more than half the track, the lap time on the track. So, I mean, Singapore could give us an idea, but it will still not really give us a clear lead in terms of who leads the season or who wins the season. Singapore wouldn't, but it will give us an idea of how the season will probably end. It will give us an idea. It can tell us that, okay, this season is going down to the wire, right? Because, look, Ferrari is not sitting back. Neither is McLaren sitting back. Red Bull is only latching on the fact that Max has enough wins from the beginning of the season and is still keeping him up there. He's still staying within the top 10 and is still keeping him up there. But the lead is coming down gradually, not gradually, it's coming down very fast. So you can imagine Singapore wouldn't give us a clear idea of who's going to win, but it could tell us that this season might go down to the wire.
Well, Kwabena, that's all time will permit us, so much appreciated for your time. I'm sure we'll have a lot more conversation after the event, you know, come next week there. That's Kwabena Poku. He's the president of Ghana Motorsport Federation and helping us keep tabs on Formula One action. And that's all we have for you tonight on Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Thank you so much for your company throughout the week. We've got more stories for you on myjoyonline.com/sports. Now, on Joy Prime tomorrow, between 8 to 9 a.m., Prime Sports Extra will come your way. You can connect with us.